Hi guys, welcome to Classic Rock and Country Music Facts and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Before we get started, I ask you to please subscribe. See that right there? Please. Today's video is on some really wild stories from the history of country music. And I'm talking some of these are pretty wild. Let's take a look. Okay, let's start with Mr. Johnny Paycheck. He clearly wasn't feeling the Christmas spirit on December 19th, 1985. While driving in Greenfield, Ohio to visit his mother for the holidays, the country singer stopped at a North High lounge for a quick drink. Inside the bar, he was recognized by a fan named Larry Wise, who jumped at the chance to speak with one of his idols. Paycheck was feeling testy from the drive, though, and conversation quickly grew heated. When Wise invited the musician back to his place for a home-cooked meal of deer meat and turtle soup, a fed-up Paycheck drew his gun, reportedly roared, "Do you see me as some kind of country hick?" and fired a bullet at Wise, just grazing his scalp. Sentenced to 9 years in jail, Paycheck served less than 2 before earning a pardon from Ohio Governor Richard Celeste. George Jones commandeers a lawnmower. George Jones was in the middle of a multi-day bender when his second wife, Shirley Corley, left the house sometime during the late 60s, taking the couple's car keys with her. If her plan was to force her hard-drinking husband into sobriety, however, she should have hid the lawnmower as well. Now, the stuff of legend, a stranded, thirsty Jones fired up the lawnmower and rode his 10-horsepower rotary engine all the way to Beaumont, Texas, where he replenished his poison at a local liquor store. Then he turned around and headed back, logging a total of 16 miles. I imagine the top speed for that old lawnmower was about 5 miles per hour. He wrote in his 96 autobiography, "I lived to tell it all. It might have taken an hour and a half or more for me to get to the liquor store, but I did get there." Graham Parsons goes missing. Dying doesn't get much more rock and roll than it did for alt-country godfather Graham Parsons, or rather what happened after death, when the singer kicked the bucket at 26 from an apparent mix of alcohol and opiates inside of a hotel room at Joshua Tree National Park. Cosmic Cowboy had previously confided to his road manager, Phil Kaufman, that he wished to have his ashes spread at the Joshua Tree. So Kaufman did what any friend would do, stole Parsons' body and casket before it could be sent home to Louisiana, took it to the desert, doused it in gasoline, and lit it on fire. Body, or what was left of it, was later returned to the Barson family, and Kaufman was fined $750, but only for stealing the casket. There wasn't a law in California against stealing corpses. Elvis Presley plays traffic cop. Elvis may have been the king of rock and roll and one of the world's biggest celebrities, but deep down he really wanted to be a police officer. It was more of a childhood dream. He collected guns and badges well into adulthood, had a custom police uniform made for himself, and became an honorary deputy of the Denver Police Department, whose officers he had befriended and in turn showered with gifts. By the 70s, Presley, in the midst of cutting some of the greatest country recordings, began to take law enforcement into his own hands, driving around Memphis and pulling over residents for traffic violations with the aid of the police siren, rotating blue light that he had fitted to his Lincoln. The king would flash his badge and lecture the drivers on their infractions, then let them go, not with a citation, but with an autograph. Billy Joe Schaefer goes wacko in Waco. Billy Joe Schaefer may be short a couple fingers from his lumber mill days, but he still proved trigger happy in 2007 when he shot a man in the face outside a bar near Waco, Texas. The fact the old five and dimers like me writer didn't actually kill the man, but was but one of the incident's many bizarre twists. He was at the bar with his ex-wife when the man, Billy Bryant Coker, allegedly brandished a knife and ordered Shaver to meet him in the parking lot. Shaver, who later pleaded self-defense, shot Coker in his pickup truck, reportedly asked him, "Where do you want it?" Texan unsuccessfully tried turning himself into the police, who were unaware of his warrant, then played a show that same night after posting bail. He was acquitted with, who else? Willie Nelson among his character witnesses. Then we got Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney's horseplay. What began as horseplay turned into something litigious on June 3rd, 2000, when Kenny Chesney, minutes after wrapping up a performance at the George Strait Country Music Festival in upstate New York, swung himself into the saddle of a deputy's police horse. He then trotted around the parking lot, using his tour mate, Tim McGraw, and ignoring the officer's orders to halt and dismount. The deputy went to remove Chesney from the horse. Erie County Sheriff Patrick Gallivan told CNT several days later another deputy was going to assist him. McGraw came and jumped the second deputy from behind, wrapped one arm around his neck, and was choking him. The third officer eventually joined the fight and did McGraw's road manager, Mark Russo, resulting in a blur of fists and alleged injuries. Both Chesney and McGraw were arrested and detained for about 4 hours, although a jury found them not guilty of multiple charges 1 year later. Tammy Wynette kidnapped at a Nashville mall. She drenched her songs in heartache, often rooted in reality. On October 4th, 1978, the country queen was allegedly abducted at gunpoint from a Nashville mall parking lot, claiming the masked gunmen had beaten and abandoned her on a country road 80 miles south of town. Wynette's bruises and fractured cheekbone were seen in graphic photos, but for some of the details didn't add up. Jackie Daly, one of the singer's 4 daughters, alleged in her 2000 memoir that Wynette had confessed that her kidnapping was fake to cover up a beating that her 5th husband, George Ritchie, had inflicted. Ritchie vehemently denied the charge. After Wynette's death in 1998, her daughters, including Georgette, whose father was Wynette's 3rd husband, George Jones, sued Ritchie for wrongful death. After Ritchie requested the body be exhumed, the suit was settled in 2002. The facts surrounding the kidnapping remain a fascinating story. Did I tell you they was wild? And people talk about rock stars. Come on. They can't keep up with us country guys and gals. That's all I have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Please share these out with your family and friends, since they might get a kick out of it. Have a great day. God bless you, and I will be praying for you.